3CX Phone System is a software-based PBX that leverages the IP network and the SIP open standard for audio and even video telephone calls. 3CX provides software, but to build a complete phone system solution you also need IP phones, soft phones or hard phones, VoIP gateways to connect to the PSTN network, and optionally VoIP providers or Skype. These training materials will walk through what you need to know to successfully install and manage 3CX Phone System. So, which operating system can I use? 3CX Phone System can be installed on Windows XP Professional in 32-bit only, Windows Vista Business, Ultimate and Enterprise in 32 or 64-bit, Windows 2003 Server including R2 in 32 or 64-bit, and Windows 2008 Server in 32 or 64-bit. By default, Windows XP has a 10 connection limit relating to incoming web connections, and we therefore recommend using the built-in Cassini web server for this operating system. So what type of hardware do I need to run 3CX Phone System? A 3CX Phone System does not require a dedicated machine if you are using an appropriate machine which is running comfortably with no processes taking away unreasonable CPU time. You should be able to comfortably handle 24 simultaneous calls without the need for a dedicated machine. Larger installs would understandably benefit from using a dedicated machine. If you want to use a virtualized machine for 3CX Phone System, we suggest Hyper-V as the preferred platform. As a starting hardware specification, we recommend a 2 GHz CPU or faster, with hyper-threading or multi-core features, and at least 1 GB of RAM for Windows XP, 2 GB for 2003 Server and 2008 Server, 3 GB in Vista. Running the small business server versions of Windows 2003 and 2008 will require additional RAM, sometimes in excess of 5 GB, depending on the applications you are running on the machine. Keep in mind that each additional application running on the OS will have its own additional requirements, and this should be taken into consideration. Downloading 3CX Phone System is simply a question of visiting the download page on the 3CX website. Regarding the type of installation you should choose, you need to know that there are essentially two types of installations depending on which web server will be used to provide the 3CX Management Console, the MyPhone interface and some other services. The easier and simpler is installing using the Cassini web server, which the 3CX Phone System installer has built in and will install for you automatically. This is the installation to choose if you want to keep your service configuration relatively simple, or if you wish to avoid potential difficulties or web application conflicts, which may arise when installing with the Windows IIS service, which is built into Windows. However, if you are familiar with IIS, it does perform better and can scale better. The installation procedure. So first you double-click the downloaded setup file to launch the installer. Select the web server you want to use, and the first stage of the installation will complete on its own. Immediately after clicking the Finish button, the installer will launch the configuration wizard for you to provide the startup parameters. The configuration wizard will lead you through the first essential configuration to set up 3CX Phone System for first use. First, you will need to set the web interface language. Next, you should select to create a new installation. It is possible to restore a PBX backup directly from this screen. This will be described in a separate video. Now you can decide on the number of digits to be used for your extension numbering scheme. The SIP domain field is important. If you want to configure your phones to use FQDNs instead of IP addresses, you should specify the PBX's FQDN, keeping in mind that you must have your DNS environment set up appropriately for this. Internal DNS server should resolve private IP addresses for LAN phones, and your external DNS server should resolve public IP addresses for remote extension. Next, you will need to specify the SMTP server that will be delivering emails for PBX notifications, voicemails for example, and the email address the PBX will be sending as. Now, select the credentials for the PBX administrator to log into the management console. Now select which of the extensions will be your operator extension, keeping in mind that the operator extension is the default extension used to route inbound calls to and will be the default destination for all inbound lines and DIDs. After completing the information dialogues, the configuration wizard will complete the procedure, and after completing the remaining information dialogues, 3CX Phone System is ready to start operations.